I'm Christopher Borgli. I'm the writer director of the movie. It's a film about a let's say average person, a professor and a father and a husband of a somewhere in the USA suburb who suddenly becomes famous from appearing in people's dreams, and it kind of turns his life upside down.
I'm Nicolas Cage. I play Paul Matthews, an academic, professor of behavioral science, and he's going through a crisis, a catharsis, where inexplicably people just overnight start dreaming about him around the world. And it's, to put it lightly, a huge adjustment. And it has tremendous effects on his personal life, his family life, his professional life.
The genesis of the story was there's a couple of professors that I read about that had these, I guess, cancellations happen. And they went on podcasts, they talked about it. And in multiple occasions, they framed it as like crimes that happen in the minds of other people, like fabricated in their minds. And they didn't see that they were guilty of anything wrong. And I thought that was like an interesting idea of like what if something actually just happened in someone's head and not in reality, and how that would play out. And that was kind of like the first little seed of inspiration.
I felt in the name of Thespis that I had the life experience to play Paul Matthews. You know, what happened to me as so-called Nick Cage with the internet, nothing could have prepared me. There was no reference point to experience this memification that occurred with one person's compiling of a montage of sequences, cherry picking different episodes of meltdowns that I had in various movies, calling it Nicolas Cage loses his shit, and then it went viral around the world overnight. And I think I was maybe the first actor that experienced anything like that. It was confusing, it was irritating, it was stimulating, it was confounding. I didn't know what to do with it. No matter what I tried to do, legally, whatever, I couldn't stop it, and it kept growing, it kept multiplying exponentially. And I thought, well, I got to put those feelings somewhere. And I read this script and I was like, holy shit, I can play this part. You know, I know what this guy feels like. Even to the point of the stalker in my house. It wasn't a knife, it was a fudge sickle. I know that gets a lot of laughs, but it was scary, man. I mean, that happened to me. So when it happened to Paul Matthews, I met with Christopher and we talked about these different things. I said, I think I can, you know, no acting, please. And we very carefully created a look so it wouldn't be so-called Nick Cage, it would be Paul Matthews, which helped because it makes it even more alarming that this person who has no real interest, Paul Matthews, in media, in having a spotlight put on him. He's a quiet man. He's a good professor. He's an academic. He just wants a little recognition for his work. We both grew up with professors. My father was a professor, so I also understood the pressures of academia. I saw my dad go through it. So I felt everything was aligned in such a way where I could play it authentically.
Yeah, I mean, it was about a character who really blends in, that doesn't stand out, and that person suddenly becoming like on everyone's minds is just kind of a comedic effect and very unexpected. And I do remember thinking about like how my father would navigate like viral fame and how he would, you know, fumble it and not be able to understand the dynamics, and there was just like so much comedy coming from like imagining my father um, you know, trying to navigate this like very modern way of getting famous. Like nowadays, like yeah, you can get. It seems like you can get famous for sort of anything. Like the he's not real plane lady. It's like there's a new one every week, you know. Um, so yeah. So this is just slightly more cinematic and metaphysical version of something that happens every day.
But we never went for laughs sake. It was all situation relevant. It was all organic to the scene. If there is laughter, it was designed very carefully to not be playing for laughs. It's a satire that sort of emerges of its own. I do think the picture is extremely relevant. I think it's totally timely to what's happening now. And he's right. Anyone can become famous overnight now, the way information is deployed. It just that when it happened to me, it was brand new. Now it's happening to other actors. It's happening to just average folk who are trying to mind their own business. He said something funny about the man who trips in the supermarket. He's now the tripping supermarket man. I mean, it can happen to all of us. So I'm not alone. People are actively courting it now. You know, easily have a pretty face, drink a bottle of tequila, make a scene on a red carpet. You are famous. It had nothing to do with craft, you know, but the fact that it's happening to a man, Paul Matthews, who doesn't want it, you know, is what makes it somewhat tragic. You see, Christopher, and he's not going to like me saying this, but I met him at a coffee shop when we first met, and I knew within maybe 20 minutes. It's a thrilling, intimidating experience when you meet somebody who's half your age and twice as smart as you. And I'm saying that, I don't think I'm stupid, but I knew that this man is highly, highly intelligent. And I said to myself, well, this is the sort of director that I'm going to say, here's the remote control, I'm your car, you push the buttons, I'm going to go wherever you want because this is your baby and I believe in it. And that's what we did. That's pretty much what my experience was.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, I didn't even dare to dream having Nicolas Cage play in my movie, or our movie now. So that was just a mind-blowing experience for me, and the way that Nick embodied this character and made him so much more exciting and watchable than he was on paper, and made him uniquely his own. Now I can't imagine the movie without Nick. It's like he created Paul Matthews, I think. Yeah.
With Christopher. I mean, I was fitting in his vision, which to me is a 1,000-layer cake. I mean, I don't use the word masterpiece lightly. It doesn't happen often, and the fact that it's his sophomore effort, I think it happened here. What do I mean by masterpiece? When a person is so knowledgeable of their craft that they can create something where nothing needs to be added, taken away, or altered. It doesn't happen often. Charles Lawton did it in his first movie with Night of the Hunter. You know, I'm going to invoke the name of Orson Welles right off the get-go with Citizen Kane. It doesn't happen often, but Christopher knew exactly what he wanted, and he created it. And I don't think anything needs to be added, taken away, or altered.